history, or his story, that of the Creator. It's already written and it just plays out over and over again. We'll come on to that in a little while. Basically, I'm going to offer here, which is probably quite a unique perspective, and I rest it upon this. If God or the Creator, whatever label you wish to apply to it, created everything, then can you not see this Creator in everything? Are we to judge anything? Now, the title of this video is, I will admit, partly clickbait, because something else I wish to put out to everybody that listens here. The present situation in the community is there are just 3 of us here, and we face various challenges on a daily basis. One that's come about is complete lack of transport, and we're in a very remote location. To the nearest bus stop is an hour's walk. Uber drivers won't come and pick you up from this place because it's a dirt track. They will drop you off, but they won't actually come and pick you up. They'll only come as far as where the tarmac ends, which is still quite a walk. So I am going to ask, any donations would be very much appreciated at the moment. And there's a chance, if you want to see this place for yourselves, I refer you to a recent video called An Open Invitation. Right, that said, we'll get to the main topic of this video. That I'm referring, as the title suggests, to Santos. I believe it's Natalie on Decode the Matrix made a video about certain dietary and medical aspects. But this video is not a character assassination. This is not an attack on anybody as such. This is just purely observation. Now, you may or may not have followed the story of what's happened, and I'm referring to about 2 years ago. I listened to a video with Santos in a very, shall we say, heated difference of opinion with, I think his name's Cullen, over the shape of the Earth. It's like, well, it's a shame it's not happening now, and come and talk to me, because I would say to you, the Earth is ribbonnated, surrounded by 4 hills, because that is my world. Everything outside of it seems like an entirely alien world. When one of us goes into Portimao or Monchique, we refer to it as going into the Matrix. So then you have this other situation that developed, an associate with Santos called Daniel. Now, I'm not pointing the finger at anybody here. My perspective on this is that you are not responsible for the actions of other people, but you are responsible for your own actions. And I include myself in this. Within the playlist, playlist section, there is a few videos entitled Santos. I heard him say on video, the world will see that I am the greatest philosopher, greater than Plato, which is quite a claim, and only time will tell. Credit where credit is due. I myself have learned a lot from watching Santos videos, and this whole thing with syncretism, it makes a lot of sense. But it would seem that Santos has gone through, shall we say, a fall from grace. Now, if we look to the astrology, now I know Santos is an Aries, which is cardinal fire, and the order of the signs always follows cardinal, fixed, mutable. So it's fixed Earth with Taurus, mutable air with Gemini, then it's cardinal water with Cancer, and so on. So to have a fall, you could almost say you'd move within the fire sign, which would take you to Leo. Now, if you see videos of Santos when he was much younger, when he had dark curly hair, it does resemble a lion's mane. Now, I'm observing the arguments, I've heard all the speculation, I could add my 2 cents worth and just give you an opinion, but I'd be basing it purely on gossip and hearsay. I've heard the stories that Daniel has done a runner with the money, or he has connections to government forces and things. Like I say, you're not responsible for somebody else's actions. If that is the case, then he was just doing his job, and he's clearly succeeded. The only comment I have made on this, I believe it was Wise Up channel did a clip with Santos talking, and all I said was, what would the Santos of 2014 be saying to the Santos of 2022? Because what was said hardly seemed to be coming from the heart. Now, turning to the point about taking personal responsibility for your own actions, it may be with the encouragement, with the pedestalizing of certain people. You look up to them because you think, especially in the early stages, it's like, wow, they've got all this information, I need to know as much as they do. So you look up to these people, like Santos, and he has been a huge influence on people's awareness and understanding and how things work, how the zodiac works in relation to the 12 essential salts for the body, and so on. There is some very good information there. You cannot take that away from him. And the playlist on this channel stays because the information is good. I'm not going to condemn the man. But maybe I've played a part in that by giving a like to a video. I may have made comments on a video and sort of encouraged him or helped strengthen the encouragement. And I can understand that when it gets to a certain point, when you've got a big following, that the ego is going to love that. I'm not saying that's how it is. It's just how, from what I'm observing. But history repeats. I thought, what am I seeing here? Now this is, I feel, is probably a perspective that no one has actually thought of or can see it from this perspective. I straight away think of Daniel and the lion in the Old Testament. It's basically a metaphor for wrestling with the ego. That seems to be being played out on this world stage as a play. It's like we're all individual theatre companies, and we can all take part in various dramas and various situations. You could also see it from another perspective, that is Wagner's ring cycle. You have two opposing forces that wish to have this ring, which is a symbol of nature. That being Wotan, who represents the ego, and Alberic from the underworld, a dwarf who represents greed. And in that drama, there are two giants who build Valhalla called Fasolt and Fafnir. And as the drama progresses in Des Rheingold, the one brother kills another. So when I'm listening to this heated debate between Cullen and Santos, I'm thinking, wow, I've got two brothers here who are basically playing out that story. You could see it in terms of a giant as in number of subscribers to a channel, for example. And then you've got Daniel, who looks like he's done a lot of working out in the gym, so to a perspective to a lot of people, he would look like a giant. Santos had a huge following, so he's like a giant. So there you have the play out of one giant turning on the other giant. And this is why I say history repeats. It backs up what Neville Goddard says, that the story that is given to you in the Bible plays out every day. It's different stage settings. Obviously, this is in modern day settings in this particular case. But what I would ask here is, and this almost startled me yesterday, I'm laying in bed and this voice said, "When you hurt yourself, you hurt me as well." And I sort of jolted a little bit because it sounded like there was somebody in the room. And it was a female voice. I clearly heard it. And yes, you could say it was my imagination. I was in like a half dream state, but it just leapt out. And I thought that was pretty amazing. And just witnessing things, it comes back to if you can see the Creator in everything, don't judge, don't condemn. Everybody is playing a part on this world stage. It's too easy to get sucked into listening to gossip and hearsay and, oh, this is what happened, they did this, and it's all a story. Everything that is in the past, which this now is a story. So I'd say, if anything, don't be negative. If anything, send love to all involved, that it may help them to find themselves, shall we say? Because they're all aspects of you and I. We're all aspects of each other. We are all reflections of each other. So I'm not emotionally involved in this. I'm staying totally neutral to it. But what I will say is, from my perspective, it was a beautiful thing to witness. It was uncomfortable to watch some of these videos. But it's stay neutral to it. Just observe. And don't be too quick to judge on things. Because ultimately, you'll be judging yourself. I hope that gives you another perspective if you've been following that story, or if you have a definite opinion about it. Because how many people can put a hand on the heart and know what is actually true and what is untrue? Who has actually witnessed anything? This is why I could only give you a perspective of what I've watched on video. The background story of how Santos ended up in Mexico, I've heard the stories. There's no point even going over that again. It's totally irrelevant to this. The relevance, as far as I'm concerned, is seeing that same story playing out over and over again. So it'd be interesting to see the way this world is going. It looks implied to be Revelations, but Revelations is the setting up ready for the next Genesis as we enter a new chapter, the age of Acquire Us, where we take back our power. But it requires doing that inner work to find out who you truly are, which requires being totally neutral as well, not sitting in judgment of anything or anyone. I will come on more about subsequent to things like awakening, talking about my own experiences in future videos. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of things to discuss, and I hope it will inspire you. I hope it will help you, guide you to find the clarity for yourself. At the end of the day, no one can do this except you. There is no saviour except yourself. Do you not realise that Christ is within you? That applies to everybody that listens, and the vast majority who don't listen. Love to you all.